Devon is laughing too hard to intro the show.
Well,
because people are calling Tobias Harris the crumble merchant, and he got the giggles before we could even let it rip.
I also
if
want to point
that
out,
lets you know what kind of night we're all having.
in today's game, he is Tobias Harris, TWO. That was from 76ers fan in the
I
chat.
remember on Sunday when we were doing the post game, Steve Dancy jumped in on the chat and said, "I'm tired of you guys attacking Tobias, and especially about the money. And with all due respect, Steve, this is why people go off on Tobias Harris." Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show here on the Tuesday night after the Sixers get blown out in New York by a final score here tonight where they only registered 79 points, 106-79. They lose in season series to the Knicks. And Tobias Harris, as you see as our thumbnail graphic there tonight, just 2 points in 26-plus minutes on 1 of 6 shooting. Derek Bodner, Kyle Neubeck, I'm Devon Givens, Brianna here producing. A bunch of you already in the chat pissed off about this performance, not only from the team, but specifically for the guy that we're going to target. And since Derek didn't have a chance to really react, even with the win on Sunday, but Harris's performance is in the win, and then following it up with this one. Welcome back, Derek.
It's
welcome
all Derek's
back.
fault for returning.
Welcome back.
It really is. So I've had a hectic last 2 weeks or so, and to have come back.
We're not going to get through the show. Devon's just going to keep saying crumble merchant to himself until he laughs himself out of the show.
Oh, man.
Be like in like a Batman cartoon where the Joker makes somebody laugh for so long that they die. Like that's what's going to happen to Devon. So shout out to, who is that? Shedva in the chat that said crumble merchant.
What was the other tweet that you said?
Oh, yeah.
That he went
There's
nuts?
also a tweet that was like, Tobias Harris is feeling dangerous. 2 points, 1 for 6, $40 million stolen. Anyway, hello, Derek. It's good to see you. You have been busy
It's
with
good
lots
to
of
see you
things that are
guys
not
too.
working.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, if there was one, and like you brought it up, it's not about the contract that nobody cares about. I mean, some people do, but like, it's not about the $40 million anymore. We just need you to justify being on the floor.
Yeah.
And for so much of this game, he did not justify being on the floor. And if there's one play that shows the Tobias Harris experience, I forget if it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter, probably the third because most of the regulars didn't play in the fourth. But when he just dribbled 10 seconds off the shot clock, and I don't think it was a violation only because they turned it over quick enough that it didn't, but he legitimately just spent 10 seconds dribbling the air out of the ball and got nowhere, was in a completely compromised position.
Derek, it wasn't a shot clock violation because he fucking traveled first.
Yeah. Kyle brought it up multiple times. Right now, you trust Paul Reed off the dribble more than you trust Tobias Harris. And I spent most of the summer saying, I don't want Paul Reed playing the floor. I don't think he spaces the floor well enough to play at the 4. I don't think he makes good enough decisions off the bounce to play at the 4. Well, gosh darn it, the $40 million man you're paying to play the 4 right now can't do that either. It's not about the contract anymore. You just need to be playable. He's really just not earning those minutes. Not even close. Not even close.
Dude, again, we've been pretty harsh at times on Kelly Oubre on this show, right?
Sure.
Riding the roller coaster with him. The thing that I think I've at least come to appreciate somewhat during this non-Embiid stretch, he doesn't go out there and just like take it, right? Like he's going to play his way. He's going to fall on his sword, die with his sword in his hand at the very least. And sometimes that means Kelly Oubre is going to shoot, 4 for 19 or just take crazy shots and stupid gambles and dumb fouls and all that. But I can at least find a way to respect a guy who's like, you know what? Like, I trust myself. I believe in myself. I'm going to attack this guy. I think I can dunk on this person. I don't have a right hand, but fuck it, I'm going to try anyway. Like, I can respect that on a weird level, even if Kelly Oubre has a bad game. There is nothing to respect about the way Tobias Harris is playing basketball right now. Like, we can have that whole conversation about the money is the money and it doesn't matter. They need to bench him, whatever it is. he, by virtue of making $40 million and by signing this contract, his commitment was to be one of the most important people on this team. He has saddled this team with that contract. Well, I should say the team saddled themselves with the contract, but they have had to work around it for a half decade. It has impacted their ability to build around Joel Embiid. It impacted many decisions that they could have made or didn't make in the year since. And right now, because he is making that money, the guys that they have to support him and to support the rest of the roster without Embiid are not good enough. We're asking Kelly Oubre collectively, like, hey, Kelly, you got to go out there, right, and carry the offense for stretches of the game because this fucking guy has no desire to or no ability to. We were talking about Dante DiVincenzo during this game, right? Former Villanova guy who has really found his role on the Knicks lately. And he has shot, I think Derek pulled the stat up during the game, since mid-January, he has taken 11 threes per fucking game as a role player for the Knicks. We sit here and talk about how it's like pulling teeth to get Tobias Harris to take 3 threes in a game. He played 26 and a half minutes and shot 2 threes. Yeah. 2 threes. This is supposed to be one of the guys that spaces the floor for Joel Embiid in a crunch time lineup, in a starting lineup, in games that matter. Right now, he is the guy who's supposed to be one of the 2 best players on your team, and he's absolutely anonymous. It's not that he's inefficient. Most nights he's relatively efficient. Tonight is an exception. He goes 1 for 6. Again, the problem is the same as it always was. He is unwilling to persevere through tough times. He doesn't get going early. He fades into the background. And as Derek brought up, the worst part was tonight he actively killed rallies that the Sixers put together, right? They come out of halftime. They're already down pretty big. And they put on a little run to start the second half. You know, like they're playing pace. They're playing space. They're moving the ball, hitting some threes. And immediately after the Knicks call a timeout, Tobias Harris misses a layup that turns into a DiVincenzo transition 3. And the next possession is Tobias catches it with 10 seconds, wastes 6 of it, drives in with the next 3. And right before he's about to give somebody a hot potato with 1 second on the shot clock, he travels. And Jalen Brunson goes and gets an N1 on the other side of the floor. So look, we can talk about all these other reasons that they're failing, right? They have all these defensive weaknesses. The whole team is not bought in defensively in the way that they should. And certainly we saw they're capable of doing so. Sunday against this same exact team, granted with OG Anunoby joining them tonight, they turned in one of their best defensive performances of the season, only to follow it up with this disinterested garbage. But I cannot sit here and watch Tobias Harris go through the fucking motions like this. It's unacceptable. And I don't understand, like, we have tried on the media side, I'll speak for myself, but also other people that are in that room. We have tried to say to Nick, like, what is going on here? Like, what do you have to do to get Tobias going? And diplomatically ask him versions of, well, why does he continue to play? Why is he one of your featured players? Because the truth right now is that every possession that they spend trying to get him going, letting him run a pick and roll, letting him go down to the mid post, asking him to attack a smaller player potentially, but now he's so in his own head, he's not even recognizing when he has mismatches, right? We were talking tonight, Devon. There are times he's trying to go at Josh Hart, who's one of the better defenders they have on the floor, and he's getting absolutely stonewalled. And then they've wasted 6, 7, 8 seconds in a possession just because he had to touch the ball. It's a design look for him. So I can't imagine the fans at this point, 5 years into this, are just completely done, because I'm done. I watch it every single night. I watch some of these guys play the right way, try to be about the right things, and we've tried to give Tobias, some grace for a long time, because his role can be tricky when one night he's the 4th most important guy, one night he's got to be the 2nd guy, whatever. But heavy is the head that gets paid $40 fucking million, dude. Like, I'm tired of this shit.
His role with Joel Embiid out of the lineup for a few weeks now, was supposed to be one of the 2 best players on the basketball team. Any move that was made at the deadline before Embiid went out was to add to the team of Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. But we've seen far too often after 5 years of this that I'm sick and tired of this type of performance, this type of effort, this type of play where he gets into his own head and he allows himself and lets the opponent off the hook for whatever it is that we all believe on the positive side of what he can do as a 18 to 20 point per game scorer. And when he has talked in the past about being an assassin scorer, or you hear other things about where he feels like there are not enough touches or finding that role has been defined now for a few weeks, that even after 4 years that we are here right now, Maxey as the all-star, as the lead guy, the supporting cast should start after Tobias Harris. And when we see stuff like this and other performances that we have seen out there on the floor from him, I don't care about the money anymore. It's about the player of what is projected to be out there on the floor when he checks into that game as a starter for Nick Nurse's team, and to not get that kind of performance continually doing this, where it's 2 weeks of really good, 2 weeks or 3 weeks of really bad, and to have this type of effort tonight. I mean, we were sitting there, and yes, I did giggle when we started things out, because sometimes at this point, all you can do is laugh until we get to this part of the show where we get serious, because we're just all sick and tired of it. And every excuse in the book can be made for this guy who is 6'9", and many times out there on the floor, he's playing against people who are smaller than him, where he should be more aggressive, getting to the free throw line, finishing close to the basket, and with that three-point volume, we talk about that coming into with the flow of the game. That thing naturally happens. But the way that he has done this as of late, and we gave him the credit for the Dallas game with his 28 and the other games where he has performed well out there on the floor. When someone like OG Anunoby comes in, and you can see it right away with his physicality coming right back, and he bodies Tobias Harris, and you can see it very, very quickly, he's going to give the ball up because of whatever it is with the fear against OG Anunoby and not believing in himself that he can get something done. I'm sick of it. There are 18 games remaining on the season. I would imagine that he's going to play in all 18 just because they need him out there on the floor. He is always available because he doesn't really get injured unless it's something major, and, of course, the sickness that he had earlier in the season. But this was unbelievable here tonight to only take 6 shots. And Derek said it before the show started. Someone had put it in the chat or a tweet where this was Game 6 all over again from the Eastern Conference semis against Boston last season, where he went 1 for 3 in the first quarter, and you basically didn't see anything else from him for the remainder of that basketball game. This one may not have been that as important, but this one was a real stinker from Tobias Harris tonight. And when they did cut the lead to 10 and New York called that timeout in the third quarter, all of that stuff that Kyle laid out happened right there in succession, where he had a hand in all of it. And when things like this start to go in a different way for the basketball team, you know how you look at football games sometimes and you say, I'm just going to focus on this one player. And this game looked like it was already out of hand. Maxey did what he was supposed to do, as we talked about. He allowed his teammates to get some early looks early, right, as he passed them and found them.
That didn't really work out.
And it didn't work out. So he did what he was supposed to do after that. He started to score.
They were midway through early in the second. He had 12 of the team's 16 points.
I'll just say this. He had 10 of the 14 that they had in the first quarter. Yeah. One less point than they had on Sunday. And with it, he tried to set his teammates up as a point guard generally does. He drew the defense. He set his teammates up. They didn't score. So he did what he had to do. But after that, you could see the game was going in a certain direction, even though the Sixers did score 27 in the second, but they were already down big. I focused on Tobias Harris from there on out, just looking at what he was doing. Kyle even said it at one point. Kyle, I hope you don't mind me saying, it was cardio. He was running up and down the floor.
And honestly, that's insulting to some guys that we've said have gotten cardio during games.
So I'm just looking at him every possession, and he was a step behind. He was just running around, going in circles. We all talk about that one play where he really did nothing in that Boston game on that one possession where everybody was doing something except for him. He was running around like a dog chases his tail, right? That was what I was witnessing here tonight. Just a lot of nothing, very lethargic out there on the floor. He had absolutely nothing in this one, and I'm sick of watching this, and I can't wait for the contract to end at the end of the season.
Not only did he shoot 1 for 6 from the field, but he also had 0 offensive rebounds, 0 free throw attempts, and 3 defensive rebounds in 26 minutes. So at least he helped you in other areas.
And he still has 0 charges taken in the history of playing for the
wild.
Sixers,
It's
which
wild.
is just...
It's one of the most incredible stats I've ever seen. Do you ever just like sit? This is one game where I'm sitting there and I'm going, all right, well, Sam Hinkie, maybe the most debated, controversial GM in history. But what's happened afterwards? He left them with back-to-back #1 overall picks and 2 max cap slots. They turned into Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Al Horford, and Tobias Harris. You've got to be freaking kidding me. Like, building around Joel Embiid has been a Shakespearean fucking tragedy, and that's why when we get into these debates, it's like, man, just give him something to work with, because it's embarrassing. It is outside of Tyrese Maxey, which was just pure luck that he fell to 21. If it wasn't COVID weirdness in the tournament, you probably wouldn't have.
Right.
Outside of that, they have gotten almost everything wrong, and it's just so gosh darn frustrating, and today really, really reinforced that.
The boy RJ
Really.
says, I like Tobias. He just had a bad game. I hope you're just joking. I really do, because that's not that's not true. And yeah, I know come in and all that time. Sometimes you get on the team and you get on Sixer fans about things. And RJ, my man, going back to the past, no, it's not just a bad game. This is not just a bad game. By the way,
Come on, ain't hearing it.
Josh Hart is looked at as a lesser player than Tobias Harris because doesn't score as well. He has to do all those little things to really impact the basketball game. It was very clear that he was the best player between those two. We had a 20-point triple-double and 1 rebound shy of 20 rebounds there to go along with 10 assists in this one, and he was so much better than Tobias Harris. And I know that I can sit there and we can have a debate about where you can make that argument that if you had to choose between the two after watching their careers, that one that's going to help you win a game and going to do everything and leaving it out there on the floor, the guy's clearly a much better player right now to help you win a basketball game. Just ridiculous.
I just don't know. How do you look at some of the other guys on the bench that are fighting for minutes, whether it's KJ, Ricky, Batum, for example. Batum's been coming off the bench. Not that he's been playing well, but you look at these guys, you have to look at Buddy too. They're not playing the same position, right? But somebody who's been demoted because he's played poorly. And look, that's fine. I don't have a problem with anybody being demoted because they're in a shooting slump, because you want better defensive options, whatever you think the reason is. That's how a team should work, right? It's about what's best for the team. Well, how do you present that message to the rest of these guys, knowing that no matter how shitty Tobias plays, he just continues to get to play and play a huge role, play a starter's role, play a closer's role, and it doesn't matter how far down he goes, he's still out there. That makes it really hard to sell a message of team first and buy-in and be about the right things to the rest of this group, because that's not true for everybody on the team, including for a guy like, look, we understand in cases like Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, they get to live by different rules, right? The level of production that they offer as stars, they get a little leeway. If they have long stretches where they struggle, they have a game where they're bad, they're still going to get the close. Tobias Harris does not deserve that type of leeway and continues to get that type of leeway. I believe I saw that Nick Nurse was asked about the potential to bring Tobias off the bench after the game and has said he's not there yet. And so what is it? What would it take? What would it take? Like, again, I brought his name up the other night when you and I were talking, Devon. Klay Thompson accomplished a hell of a lot more,
A Hall of Famer,
for the Golden State Warriors than Tobias Harris has for the entirety of his career, whether you're saying the Sixers, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Pistons, the Magic. Klay Thompson is eons separated from Tobias Harris. And mid-season, Steve Kerr still had the balls to go up to him and say, you're sitting on the bench to start the game because that's the right thing to do. And they are in literally the same situation, expiring contract in their 30s, in search of their next deal, on a team trying to win and struggling to do so. One coach decided, screw that. I don't care what you did for me before, even though we won multiple titles together. The other coach and the other team have said, well, he's the best we can do, so we're just going to trot him out there, and who gives a shit what happens to the team? It's a terrible message to
I
send.
think back to the post game where was it you that asked the question, and Nick Nurse, but even if you asked the question or not, when you came on with Eric and I post game from the arena, you said you can tell by Nick Nurse's response that he was more
He's just shrugging
PC
his
about it.
shoulders.
That he's like, I really don't know what else to do here, but I have to say the right thing to answer the question about this because this is ridiculous at this point. And again, 18 games left on the regular season, 17 games left on the regular season, plus the playoffs, because we all believe that even still, they'll at least the play-in where they're competing to get into the postseason, we're still going to see them. But yeah, man, that the fact, and I go back to the Washington game. Forget about what we say about Ricky Council and having fun with Ricky Council on this show. He was benched in that game because Ricky Council was playing better than him at that moment, and he was benched. And that was the right move right there. So why do you go away from that? Yes, you are still down Covington and Melton and Embiid. I get it. I understand it. And you do have to play your best players. But right now, he is not deserving of this 26 starters minutes that he gave tonight. And even in the win, we talked about him in spite of what he did on that floor and staying away from him a little bit.
Shame on us.
We gave the first segment of how good it was to watch them pull out this win, and it was an ugly one. And then when we were even saying, well, he did get on the boards, and then Kyle was like, all right, can we now get to the fact that Tobias Harris again stunk in that Sunday win against the New York Knicks? Sick of it.
I will say, Nick Nurse saying not yet. I know it's well, what's it going to take then?
Well, guess what? They have Milwaukee on Thursday.
Yeah, calm down. One second. Can I talk now?
Yes.
Okay.
But
I
still.
think,
we do have to pay our bills, by the way.
I think not yet is a positive indication that he didn't dismiss it summarily. He's not going to announce that on a press conference. I actually take that as a positive that he might actually consider it in the days to come. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Which day?
I don't know. I'm
Charlotte?
not Nick Nurse.
He's not-
it's not my
it's not-
decision.
it's not Charlotte.
No, because he'll tear Charlotte up.
All right. The weather's nice outside. So with the weather being nice, you want to be clean shaven. Just your face, because you want to make sure you're all clean. But also, as it gets warmer, because we are having these 60-degree and even the 70-degree day coming up here this week, that you want to be clean. Maybe if you were traveling to Florida like our team is from PHLY Phillies and you want to be all nice and clean while you're in that warm weather there, you go to our good people, great sponsor of our show here, Manscaped. And with St. Patrick's Day also coming up here, you want to make sure that you're right for that day as you run from spot to spot to spot as you have an enjoyable day with an adult beverage. Top of the morning to you, top of the evening to you as well, as this episode is brought to you by the St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shavers, Manscaped. This year, don't just chase rainbows. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below the kilt care. Say goodbye to your Clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and let your confidence shine bright. We each have one. You should have one too. Embrace the luck of the Irish and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and use code PHLY for 20% off. Plus, you all love this, free shipping. Ever since I've used Manscaped, I can proudly say, again, I found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. No issues. You navigate. You got to make sure you're in good spots. You don't want to do anything wrong there. You want to get every area. Manscaped will do that for you. Equipped with dual LED spotlights, navigate your shamrock patch in peace. Worried you'll make a mess? Fear not. This wonder's waterproof, right? Shave by the misty moors under a waterfall, even during a rain dance. Be careful, even when you're doing that rain dance. All right, trimming the hedges in your Irish garden just below the belt. Complete your look with Manscaped's signature Beard Hedger Pro Kit plus Handyman Electric Face Shaver, so you can be clean right here, right? I have a big event to go through this weekend. I'm going to make sure I'm all clean here on my face, and it's all good. Whether you're sculpting your beard or cleaning up your neckline, these are always the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code PHLY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code PHLY at manscaped.com. This St. Patrick's Day, make sure your little or big hairy leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped.
I gotta say, I feel like we
All right, no. It's not your turn to talk. No. We've waited long enough for the ad break.
In the middle of the ad.
No. Enough.
Talk, Derek.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
saying we needed a lighthearted ad read because I think Devon is really starting to get his blood pressure up. That's all.
Thank you.
Well, let's not talk about blood pressure after that ad read, but from day-to-day annoyances to watching Tobias Harris play basketball, it is easy to get worked up, whether it's at 10:22 at night as we do this show, or the next morning after you thought about 2 points from a $40 million player. But guys, there's a better way. There is a chiller way, and that's by reaching for an ice-cold Coors Light and choosing chill. With Coors Light, you know you're getting an ice-cold beer because the mountains turn blue on the bottles and cans when they hit that perfect temperature. Look, the season looks like it's going to be ending sooner than most of us were probably hoping for, including us on the professional side. We like the playoffs, too. We like to talk about games rather than 800,000 trade rumors and free agency targets and what have you. But when we're thinking about that period of time after this season, when Tobias Harris will no longer be playing for the basketball team that all of us watch every night, it'll be so nice to just look into the fridge, look into the cooler, see those blue Rocky Mountains and say, man, I can wash that feeling down with an ice cold Coors Light because it is cold layered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smooth finish. It is mountain cold refreshment. I know you need that right now, guys. So when you choose to rise above it all, choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, now you can talk, Derek.
No, that's all I want to say. I was happy for Devon that I got to do a lighthearted ad read because I was starting to get a little worried about him. That's all.
I had a friend that texted and said, as hated as Ben Simmons still is, and you know you hate to use that word, but sports related, sports wise, not personally on a personal level or anything, that Harris might have eclipsed him with that disdain from him because of it's the contract and how he attacks certain things when it comes to these games, where we know how the Simmons thing ended and what he didn't do and kind of maybe set things back a bit. But I'd imagine that a lot of people are at least starting to have him in that conversation of most disliked Sixers in many years as he has put on that uniform.
Well, I think there's a lot of recency bias to that. Like, Ben Simmons is not pissing us off right this very moment, so I'm not sure you
Speak
can
for yourself,
necessarily...
buddy. He's always pissing me off.
But he left a lasting impression with people,
Sure.
you know,
But the
continue to
fact that
talk
we
about
can
it.
have, again, this goes back to what I was talking about. I can't believe Joel Embiid has been saddled with this for so long. And this is where, if I'm going to be optimistic, at least now we have a chance for another decision maker to try to go out there with a trade or free agency and maybe build something cleanly, because this has been a clusterfuck the entire time of his career.
Well, look, I mean, one of the most important people in the front office that gave him this deal is now operating a series of boys and girls clubs in Texas. So maybe
While
that's,
admitting to fixing box scores.
maybe that is a sign of where management was at when the important decisions were made that have left them where they're at this point in time.
I really wonder if Josh Harris ever thinks like, maybe I made a mistake. Probably not.
With
because,
Hinkie, you talking about?
No,
Or
with that
the
whole
rest of
collective nonsense. Probably, well, and with Colangelo too, but probably not, because his portfolio keeps growing. He's now, I think, worth upwards of $9 billion, has enough money to buy the Commanders, so probably not, but I wonder. They had a hell of an opportunity, and pisses me off.
The last two games, guys, despite the win on Sunday, the last two games they have scored 79 points. The offense right now has not been good, despite a few performances there where they've had against Dallas and others. This one, Brooklyn and Memphis, they scored some points, but in this one and on Sunday, 2 games against the Knicks, they scored 79 points. So if it weren't for the 73 scored by the Knicks on Sunday, we would be talking maybe more about how putrid this offense has been. to shoot 37% in this one. And again, the terrible shooting percentage in a win on Sunday.
And I keep telling people, I want you to understand how good Joel Embiid is at basketball and how transformative he is for the Sixers as an organization. And look, maybe you could invent some fantasy trade where they get 1 billion picks and the perfect young prospect that fits next to Maxey, and you nail every draft and all that. But if you look at the management decisions that they have made since the moment Joel Embiid was drafted, there are not many that stand out as like, oh yeah, organizationally, this is a group that is definitely going to get it right if they were to tear it down and say, let's just move on. And I want you guys to savor every single second, every single game, every single season that Joel Embiid plays for this franchise. There is a reason across multiple ownership groups, across many coaches, across hundreds of players, that this team has not won a title since 1983, before I was born. There's a reason there is one finals appearance this team has made in my lifetime, and it was a flash in the pan. They never came close afterward with that same guy leading the way who was an incredible talent. There is a reason through all that stuff. They have not been a well-run organization, generally speaking, in the macro. And they have Joel Embiid. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe the first 15 reasons that they are at all relevant in the NBA. And I hope that that has sunk in for the skeptics, for the doubters, for the haters, for the people who want to downplay just how good this guy is. Look at where they are without him.
That 2021 season in the playoffs, of course, against the Atlanta Hawks, that's the one. We will never know, but at very minimum, we knew they were good enough to get to that spot because of the setup that they had with Washington and Atlanta knocking off New York in that series to get there. That we've already discussed this, and we've all already discussed this, but as you say that, to your point of him not getting to a final and the mistakes that have been made over and over and over again, yet they have been contenders still because of him. That 2021 season is really going to be one that hangs over for a long time if they don't get there soon.
That being said, maybe it was a good thing. Maybe if that doesn't happen, Ben Simmons is still here. Maybe they'll still try and make that work. Maybe it just expedited the need to move on.
It might have worked out better, but, you know.
I mean, legitimately, we might still be sitting here talking about Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, and my head would explode. You would need a new.
Oh, if I was still having debates with people regularly about Ben Simmons, I might have quit. I couldn't do it anymore.
We'd be talking about snug pick and rolls for the 14th season in a row. I'd lose my freaking mind.
And having to deal with that dude fucking gaslighting me to my face, like, oh, you people who think I should shoot just don't know basketball. Like, okay, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay, Derek, though, your thoughts on the offense? 79 points in back-to-back games, man. Fair enough.
It sucks. News at 11.
Fair enough. Yeah. Look, Maxey wasn't there on Sunday, and Maxey first game back tonight. He shouldn't have had to be the guy to rise to a level of dropping 30 tonight, more so that having his presence out there on the floor should have made a difference, and not much was made there tonight. He did, again, we talked about what he did to set his teammates up early at 17 on 14 shots, but overall thought he was pretty good in his return here after missing 4 games. He was okay. You could see where it wasn't his fault as things played out overall on the floor.
No, and Kyle brought it up while we were watching. I thought he was creating pretty good shot opportunities for his teammates. Unfortunately, shot 24% from 3. They only got to the line 16 times. They got 7 offensive rebounds on 50 missed shots. Like, there was a lot going on that wasn't way more than I can't do math. Doesn't matter. They didn't do anything to create any opportunities outside of Tyrese Maxey's driving kick. And when you can't execute in any single facet of the game, you're not going to score very many points. And look, this is a really good New York Knicks defense. That being said, outside of maybe Kelly Oubre, nobody else really stood up. And that's just been a recurring theme throughout this time period without Joel Embiid. They have nobody else maybe Paul Reed. Paul Reed's aggressive at the very least. Outside of that, it feels like everyone else is playing tentative, and highlighted by the $40 million man that we just spent the first 30 minutes of the show talking about. But there's a lot of indecision going around throughout this roster right now, and I don't really know how you rectify it. I mean, you got Nick Batum out here doing cardio. 21 minutes, 4 shots, 3 from 3, nothing else.
Yeah, and look, he's an example of a guy that with Joel, great. You get the vision. Without him, it's just like, well, what is it you do here? There's too many of those guys on this roster. And look, in a weird way, the way this is played out validates Morey's general thesis on the league, right? Which is that role players don't really fucking matter. They don't. Like, the difference between
they're fungible. You swap them in and out.
This team and last year's team that was able to win games when Joel is out is that they had James goddamn Harden. Like, that's all it came down to. If you look at how George Niang has been up and down in Cleveland, and all these other guys that leave or played there that had a role, James Harden was the difference last season. He was the reason they're able to win, because they had him and they had Tyrese, and then you just needed to get some contributions elsewhere. James could prop up the
Harris.
Paul Reed units. Maybe you get some Tobias Harris help once in a while, but that was really it. James put the pieces around him, drive, kick, pick and roll, find Tyrese, run the break, hit ahead, whatever you got to do. That's the difference. Yeah. And so, look, the contingent of people who are like, they got to push chips in, they got to get somebody before the deadline. The options would have been imperfect. There were no players that were available that the Sixers were all that interested in, like DeJounte Murray. They talked down on that. We've said many times on this show they didn't want Levine, but you could see why people who are frustrated with this team would say, well, maybe you should have just gotten one of those guys, because one of those guys, not Levine, he's out and hurt, so not him. But get somebody, get anybody, change it up, bring people in that could make a difference for the team. Anunoby came back tonight, and I'm not saying he's the whole difference between the Knicks scoring 73 points and blowing the Sixers out, but OG Anunoby made a big goddamn difference tonight, and that was a big move the Knicks made at the deadline, or pre-deadline, I should say.
He got in Harris's jersey. I know that much. And sometimes when you can take somebody away and take a player away, that makes a big difference. That's why we talked about him at the deadline. Well, not only his offense, but what he does defensively.
Not only that, but how many transition opportunities did they get because of OG's defense? Mm-hmm. There was at least 4 or 5 of them. And when you're stuck in the mud offensively, that helps.
Try not to say Tobias Harris, but he picked one of his.
No, yeah.
He got him on one and went the other way for that. But you're absolutely right, and I couldn't help but kind of think about when we discussed it, of him being one of the top targets maybe for the Sixers via the trade deadline, is what would that mean on this basketball team at the moment, and what would they be getting out of him at this moment if he was on this basketball team? You want to squeeze in a couple of super chats before we get to one of the next things?
I think Derek needs to tell you about one of our other friends.
An ad reader too,
Let's
and then
do
we'll
that.
get to the super chats. Look, I know your basketball team is tough to watch. I know. We're sitting here, we're talking about it, we're watching it with you, we're talking to you in the chat. Game Time doesn't just sell basketball tickets, and they don't just sell Sixers tickets. There's concert, there's
Thank
theater,
God for that.
everything else. So even if right now you have no interest in going to watch this godforsaken freaking team, Game Time is still where you want to go for tickets. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. See, that's music, comedy, and theater as well, and the other sports.
I keep telling you, we got to go to the theater.
Well, off-season content will be there. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. With Game Time, you get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And you can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. With tickets sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Well, one Philadelphia team did get a win tonight. The Flyers snuck, got a W tonight, and they're going to be at the arena on Thursday, and that will be when we are going to have one of our takeovers, and that's with the PHLY Flyers group, because Charlie and Bill and other PHLY diehards are going to be at the Center March 14th, this Thursday, as the Flyers take on the Toronto Maple Leafs in an Eastern Conference showdown, presented by the great sponsor, Olipop. And with that victory, you get to hang out with these guys as they get ready for that matchup. You get to hang out with the guys as part of the diehard crew. And we've done it twice with the takeover at the arena for the Sixers games. Here with the Flyers, we've seen others. But to become a diehard, it's a pretty cool thing here as part of the PHLY crew. You get some exclusive content, premium written content for members at allphly.com. That will be from Kyle Neubeck, Derek Bodner. You get Charlie O'Connor, the Eagles guys with all the news going on with Bo and Zach talking about many
people that have good news to share with you, thankfully.
You become a diehard member and you have exclusive, again, content there. 20% off with the events, dope merch for all the teams. You get a free T-shirt when you join up. Get a cool T-shirt. Kyle has a great one on right now. All the right there on the right side of your screen, right? Got that T-shirt right there, the Heart of Philly, right there for you. So make sure you go and you can choose one of those once you become a member. And members only Discord in the PHLY Lounge. You get one member's message from me a month. Maybe more when we get to the playoffs. Or
Derek
when
and I are quite
back.
active in the Discord.
These guys are in there.
It is a great place to commiserate amongst people who are following this team for whatever reason, whether it's whether it's because your parents raised you that way, whether it's because you're sick in the head like we are, whatever it is. It's a really fun, friendly place to talk about the Sixers. I've enjoyed it a whole hell of a lot.
And when we're out and we see people at the arena, I can speak for myself that a lot of people say, how can I catch all the shows? How can I be more involved and help out what you guys are building there? And it's real simple. All you have to do to support the show is become a PHLY diehard. That helps out a lot. The best part of it, and that's a lot in there for you as we laid it all out. Head over to allphly.com now and join the best sports fans in the city. All right.
Speaking of the sports fans, we got a bunch of super chats, I believe.
We thank everybody for doing that, checking in. Ticked off tonight, aren't you?
I see one that is directed at Devon specifically. From Jay.
Jay, I see it. Jay, I am sick of this shit. Really, I am. I'm tired of it, man. I really am. And look, I try not to put them up on this perch of something that I don't believe is really in there. If we've all been involved in this business for a long time now around this basketball team, and I think you all know that we tell it like it is. We don't sugarcoat anything. We do not try to wave pom-poms for anything. We give our individual opinions on what happened. A lot of times they align, of course, but this is not good, man. And that's why last week when we did our show about the play-in, because that's a real thing. It was a really good win on Sunday against New York. We knew that New York would be amped up to come back with the way that they dropped that one. As much as the Sixers took that one, the Knicks shot poorly and really gave the Sixers that win. Tonight they came back and they got a shot in the arm from OG Anunoby being in the lineup, and you needed that other player to come in and do something here tonight with Maxey. And Tobias Harris just is the reason why you said, you wanted to hear me say it. I am sick of it because we've seen this now for 5 years, man. 5 years. 5 years.
We got one from Davon. What's up, Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, who says, I love you guys, man. I find comfort in knowing I'm not the only one suffering through watching to buy ass, which
we've seen that one before.
Want to be clear that Davon is the one calling him that. I have to be a professional and just.
I really like the two bias.
Two biases.
Because it's very of the moment.
That's very good.
It's not.
But I would
stick,
say this, to Davon's point here, I do think that's like part of the reason we have the show and the site and the Discord and everything else, right, is because we all know, having followed this team, rooted for this team, written about this team, been on the radio about this team, that the highs are not frequent. The lows are going to be there quite often, and you're going to have to find some people to commiserate with. And if we can be that place where we all commiserate, I would wear that as a badge of honor, even though I would prefer to, be in a celebratory mood and slugging Coors Lights and buy goggles to wear and a champagne shower after a finals win. But that's not my lot in life, and it doesn't appear to be yours.
I remember a couple of seasons ago when they changed the basketball sponsor from Spalding to Wilson.
Sure.
And you guys play. Sometimes, they come out all the time. They feel the basketball, kind of get a good feel. And I remember at Media Day, sitting there interviewing the players, and I was talking to Tobias, and the one thing I said, it just kind of popped in my head. It means nothing, but it's just kind of late right here for Tobias for tonight. Because I remember asking him, as a guy, you kind of get used to everybody's in their rhythm. They like certain things when you're playing. You have a ritual. You have certain things that you like to do, whether it's him reading his books and a pregame meal and stuff like that. And in this case, a lot of times it is a player really likes the feel of a certain basketball or a basketball brand. I remember asking, and I remember his response was, a basketball is a basketball. It just.
Are you a Spalding or a Wilson guy?
I actually like the Spalding better.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually like the Spalding better. And some of them, when you play in high school, they give you some of the other brands that I thought were always even better than Spalding at that time.
Yeah.
And even playing pickup now, they have those brands over the Spalding or the Wilson. But I am a Spalding over Wilson, and I would say I think Tobias might be too, even though he said something totally different.
No, I'm a Wilson Evo guy. Big preference on that.
We are really grasping at straws to find a way to explain what Tobias is going through.
It just popped in my head when he said, a basketball is a basketball. Okay, dude. And let's be clear, too, as you said, covering the team and all, and we're not saying Tobias or all this other stuff. We've always said the guy is a nice person. It's just the basketball side of things that ticks us off. But, okay.
Maybe he's too nice. Maybe that's I actually wrote in the recap tonight, I was like, Every game I sit down and write and I say, I'm really not trying to bully Tobias Harris, or I'm not trying to make it so that it's all about him. But man, does he make himself an easy target.
Especially when he says stuff like, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, I'm an assassin scorer, and think those things don't go away. And then when you say the crumble cookie piece where you trade, that becomes a thing now where what had me laughing at the beginning, the crumble.
So I don't, like, what even is the explanation for all this though? Nick Nurse has outright dismissed that there's a physical issue.
I think his confidence is in the toilet.
Like we've talked about.
Yeah. The crypto market's doing great. He should be thrilled right now. His fucking shitty NFTs are finally worth something again, I think. Right? You'd think it's like, all right, my portfolio is back, baby. And you'd think that puts some wind into Tobias.
I don't think the portfolio helps against OG. I don't think that's
like,
gonna.
Oh man, my Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever the hell these stupid idiots are peddling.
Which includes the GM of your.
Listen, it's not any smarter on his end than it is for.
I'm sorry, the president of basketball operations.
Crumble merchant.
Maybe there's a Crumble NFT that's doing as well as the company is. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to another super chat. We got one from our guy Marty Bones. It says, Tobias has crumbled post trade deadline. No pun intended. Was he expecting to be traded, and are we now witnessing a Simmons-Fultz scenario again?
I mean, I think you have gotten a really, really crash course on how big of a factor confidence is in professional sports. Like, if you have not realized that after watching the Sixers basketball over the last 6 years, then I don't know what you have been paying attention to. No, I don't think he was expecting to be traded. I think his confidence is just completely tanked right now, and he is second-guessing everything. He's probably lost a step physically. He's not able to get spots that he used to be, and it has just snowballed to the point where he is borderline unplayable on some nights.
Yeah, look, and if that's the reason, if he thought he was going to get traded and now he's just completely crumbling, I just don't. I don't care that much.
I've also never gotten a hint that he wants to be traded. I don't think that's the case. I think he wanted to come out here and play his role and play well and compete for a title. I don't think he wants to. Now, when the next contract comes around, there's one team offering him a lot more money to be a featured player. Like, that might change things. But I've never gotten a sense on this current contract that he wants out of Philly. Not in the slightest.
No, I don't think. I don't think in his mind, as far as I can tell, that he would have preferred to go to like Detroit to end this season,
right?
Put up a bunch of stats, and like ideal world for Tobias is to have his cake and eat it too, right? To make the money here, to produce here, and to potentially win here. Like I think he came in and still has somewhere deep down the right mentality about all this. At the end of the day, I do still believe he's about the right things. He just doesn't do them and is so in his own head that he can't do, like, these are basic asks. Like, imagine if this would never happen, but just like swap him and Dante DiVincenzo, and Nick Nurse went to DiVincenzo. It was like, you need to shoot more threes. And he just didn't do it. It's like, well, then what the hell's the point? Like, what do you mean you're not going to shoot threes? You're getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Like, there are very few players in the NBA who have the ability to shoot, who are told by every coach, you need to shoot more, who then don't shoot the ball. All basketball players want to shoot as much as they possibly can. The struggle for most of these guys when they come to the league is that they're not good enough at shooting, and coaches are like, you got to rein it in. You got to give it to the star, swing it, let somebody else pass or let somebody else touch the ball. That's not the case. Everybody is like, Tobias, shoot the goddamn ball, and he won't do it. It's baffling.
I got nothing.
Thank you, Marty, for the super chat.
No more Embiid pregame. I mean, some talks that help for.
We got what, 2 games out of it?
Yeah.
You might need an hour every day from Joel. Maybe that's the argument, is go out there and do something other than whatever the hell this is. We have a super chat from our friend Cannoli, who says, in hindsight, do you think the Sixers should have tried harder to get Anunoby, Porzingis, Holiday for Harden/Tobias? Anunoby on the Knicks, better than expected. I don't think they had the ammunition to get.
No, Toronto wanted someone who can play right now and who could be a long-term fixture next to Scotty Barnes. Sixers didn't have that.
And Boston, unfortunately, had so many picks and movable contracts.
Yeah, Sixers didn't have picks to get involved in Drew Holiday. That is the whole theory behind the James Harden trade, is it's a two-stepper, because what you were, there's such a narrow market for James Harden, you couldn't really turn that into Drew Holiday at the time. You were draft asset depleted. We'll see whether or not he can actually do something with it now. But yeah, I would have loved Drew Holiday, but I don't think they had the.
And the Sixers would have too. They pushed to get him. They made offers, but they didn't have what it took to get the deal done.
I got nothing.
Well, unfortunately, we still got more super chats to talk about, buddy. Well, Jay of the Jungle is just doing the like SpongeBob meme.
Just listing players.
They are tanking to prevent Maxey from All NBA. Yeah,
that's not. What
that is
doing.
Not.
No.
Not.
So to be clear, he is making
He's
fun
mimicking
of
the
Money
people
Mart.
who are who are saying that.
Okay.
That is.
I don't want to slander Jay after giving us money. He is.
There is a specific SpongeBob meme that is in a mocking tone or voice, even though it's an image. It makes sense if you look at it. I promise.
If you're chronically online, this all makes sense.
I promise it makes sense if you either have seen SpongeBob or seen the meme. But Jay is mocking the idea that has been suggested by others in the chat, and I'm with Jay. They are absolutely not trying to stop Tyrese Maxey from making All-NBA. If he doesn't make it, it's going to be because he wasn't good enough to make it.
And again, so like that whole theory is basically if Maxey makes All-NBA, then he can qualify for a Supermax, which could earn him about $40 million over the course of his next contract that he wouldn't qualify for now. To be clear, that wouldn't impact the Sixers. I don't even know why I'm humoring this, but that wouldn't impact the Sixers' cap space or flexibility because they have him on a cap hold of $13 million until he signs the next contract. The reason they have cap space is because that cap hold is so low. That cap hold doesn't change. Just want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
So you can hope that Tyrese Maxey makes All NBA and gets his bag. They still have max cap space over the summer.
He was going to be in the conversation, of course, but it was probably going to be tough for him to make the top 6 guards in the league anyway. But he's talented. He's going to get paid in the offseason. The Supermax, yes, is one thing versus the other $200 million that he's going to get.
Tyrese is going to be fine. I promise you that.
Yes, he's got endorsements. He'll get more endorsements, and he'll make all-star teams. He'll be just fine.
Although it looks like our friend Bernard McCoy is actually concerned about Tyrese. Speaking of, you said he's going to be fine.
He's going to be fine.
Bernard says Maxey's one of the best picks for the Sixers in the past 30 years. Now he's going to suffer because of Embiid's health and poor management.
No, he won't. And here's the other part of why he won't. Because if things really go the wrong way, even if Embiid left and he was now the face of the Sixers, if him and his management team, who is Rich Paul, did not like where the Sixers were and the situation that Maxey was in, he will get him away from Philadelphia. So Bernard, no worries there. Enjoy the Tyrese Maxey run in the Sixers uniform. Hopefully it's for a very long time, and maybe it is paired with Embiid as the 1-2 punch, and they get a third guy this offseason where we're not talking this way next March. But if it does go the other way, best believe Rich Paul and Clutch will get him out of here.
Stars don't waste away on teams anymore unless they want to waste away on teams anymore. They have all the power. If Dame Lillard didn't want to stay in Portland, Dame Lillard wouldn't have been in Portland. If Tyrese Maxey doesn't eventually want to stay in Philadelphia, he will not be in Philadelphia. The flip side of that is you're always panicking of, oh my God, does my star want to stay here? But yeah, you don't have to worry about Tyrese Maxey. He'll be okay.
I'm not worried about a kid who's about to receive generational wealth and play an important role in this team. And he absolutely will deserve that money that is coming his way. He's going to be just fine.
Because Morey's going to do something this offseason to give them another piece to go behind their 2 All-Stars.
One last super chat, another one from our guy Davon. Look, at least Marcus Morris shot the ball, man, with a couple of crying, laughing emojis.
This is the first Marcus Morris moment of the night since he was traded in February. Look at that. Thank you, Davon.
That sums up this team, though. Like, you have to pick, do you want to talk about the infuriating $40 million man? Or do we want to praise Kelly Oubre, who never passes and drives me nuts, but he's not driving me nuts now because the other guy is making $40 million and not shooting? Or do you want to talk about Marcus Morris, who didn't play a lick of defense the entire time he was here? And it's like, oh my God, can we just get a couple of players who can do it like a couple of things and play both sides of the floor? It is amazing what Joel Embiid is able to cover up.
Man,
it's just amazing.
To sit, guys, everybody, guys and gals, Sixer fans in the chat, to sit here with these two and Bree, and as we talk about things before we get here. Look, Marcus Morris wasn't going to win you this game tonight. Probably wasn't going to get you over 79 points.
But he would have shot the ball.
You know, see, this is why we all know each other so well, because he knew exactly where I was going. There was no problem of the ball swinging, and I would not hear from either of these gentlemen on a night like tonight after players just passed up looks to say that Marcus Morris was going to squeeze that shot off if he got that look. He was. He just was. And that's just what it was. So, Marcus Morris moment of the night.
I just want to say, Devon, watching you come out with all the fire you had to start this show, and then slowly just
I can just see his soul leaving his body right now.
I got nothing, man. You said this for like 5 minutes straight. I got nothing. Just watching that transformation happen, oh, man, these next couple of weeks are going to be tough.
They're 36-29 right now.
Yeah.
They were, again, 29-13. We saw the graphic on television where they're 26-8 with Embiid in the lineup. Ash, you got to get on it, man. Ash, you slipping. It's been a few weeks, I know, but they are 10-21 now without Joel Embiid.
What was Vince's prediction? He said they're going to go
17 games. They'll win 17 games without Joe to end the season.
That's already off
I think
the
it was,
table,
I think it was 17 and 11 because we were talking about the next 28. Yeah.
So they're going to have to go like 17-0 or 1 to end the season, right?
Yeah. I think I'm collecting my dinner.
You think?
I don't know if you guys have
Derek, if you don't collect that dinner, a higher power
I'm
would have had to
honestly
intervene.
not going to take it because I feel guilty taking that. Have you looked like their schedule coming up
65
here
games in the
at
books.
Bucks? All right, then you got the
That
Hornets.
might be we got shows during the day this week, buddy.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to save the
Hold-
It's
rest
just
of
Hold
it's
on,
going to
no.
get dark. That's
Hold
all I'm
on.
saying. That's all I'm saying.
And they're down right now. They're losing to the Sacramento Kings right now. So if they lose this game, not that they need this,
Who are we talking about?
Milwaukee, they're losing to the Kings right now by 12, now by 14. They're going to come in and looking to smack the Sixers at home on Thursday with Doc Rivers.
They don't need to look that hard to smack
No,
this
they
team.
don't.
They got
I'm
Giannis
just-
and Dame.
I'm just
buddy.
looking at something else, man. I'm just trying to,
All right, everyone.
I'm trying, man.
Listen, I'm
trying.
watching Devon turn into
I'm
the
reaching.
crumble cookie over here
I'm
as we
reaching.
finish this show. So I'm going to start thanking all the beautiful, wonderful people who are here with us once again tonight.
17 games
After
left.
watching the Crumble Merchant score 2 points in 26 and a half minutes. You guys are God's strongest soldiers because you're being put through his toughest battles. Thank you to Cannoli, Ed Wright, Jay the Jungle, Brian Knight, our guy Al, the 2-minute warning.
What up, Al?
Oh, wow. That's how you know things are tough. We can't even get a what up, Al yell.
No,
We got Martian Lynch,
it's not his fault.
Coach Lowell Ricketts. We got
What up, Coach?
America's greatest troll, Money Marr.
What up, Mar?
Either Bino or Bino 777. We got AC Phila, who's taking on all comers in the chat tonight. We got Cleveland John, Ron.
Aaron, what's up, Aaron?
We got Noob. We got Winona, who still probably has me blocked on
She
Twitter.
said she fixed it. Hey, Winona.
Okay. We got Jake M. We got Eric0215.
Is that Tobias' stat?
Jesus, this is really dark. We got Randy
No, 1 for
Rubart,
6.
Oh, okay.
Charlie Hendrickson,
That was the
Maine.
first half.
We got Theo with a symbol that I can't tell what the symbol is, but shout out to Theo. We have all our wonderful, beautiful super chatters tonight. We had Davon, who's always coming through for us. We got Bernard McCoy. What up, Bernard? We got Jay, who
What up,
made
Bernard?
Devon curse on the show. So thank you to Jay.
What up,
Cannoli again, Jay the Jungle again, and Marty Bones, who paid in New Zealand bucks. So he's checking in from a place where you really should be doing something better with your time, buddy.
I hope we're not visiting New Zealand.
Go
early.
watch the All Blacks or something, man. Like, I don't know who your team is over there, but the All Blacks are legendary. So I'd say spend more time.
I didn't mail it in, Martian. I gave a better effort. I just got deflated.
At least Devon had a first half performance.
I did have a first half. I did. Yeah.
At least we got a half out of Devon. We got a whole show out of you guys if you are still here with us. And I see Rich P in the chat as well. But if you are still here with us,
Go subscribe.
hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. I'll do it myself because Devon's got nothing. Hit that bell so you get notifications each and every time we go live. If you hit the thumbs up button, Devon probably won't wilt away and die after the show. And
Please.
I really would appreciate having the true microphone professional on the show, because when you just got to listen to Derek and I's voices for an hour, I wouldn't recommend it. So thank you, everyone,
Everybody,
for being
please.
I mean,
here.
to be fair,
Hit the like button, everybody, please, because this one hurt tonight. Please, just hit the like. Do that for you. Like when we would say, "Go get him, Rick." Everybody, hey, can you say, "Go get him, Rick," in the chat with us? Please hit the like button.
Oh, and thank you to Eric, who congratulated
sorry.
me
I'm
on
sorry.
the award that these guys won't stop busting my balls about. We will be back here
Yeah, you say it.
tomorrow
what up, Colin?
afternoon at Wednesday.
What up, award
At
winner?
Wednesday. I'm losing my
At
goddamn mind at this point. We'll be here
2:30.
tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 with the whole gang. The Eagles will have done like 15 more
We'll be
inspiring
talking about
things. And we'll
that.
be talking about how much we hate ourselves, this team, and our existences. Good night. Goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm hungry.
We all silly like the mayor.